Hi everyone, it's Justine. First day back in the office after the holiday. It started with me having forgotten my password, so I couldn't start my computer, which is a sign that the time off went well. And then I started filming this video right here without the microphone on. Yeah, so I'm not completely here yet, but I'm here. Today I'd like to share some useful tips for online shopping in clothing. I'd like to tackle quality, sizing, shipping and payments. Not necessarily in that order, we'll see. Basically, it's about choosing the right size and the right fit, but that varies so much from one brand to the other, one website to the other, that it's not easy if you don't know exactly how. So here's how. EU sizes. First of all, forget about the size that you think you are. If you're usually a size 10, you might still be a size 6 or a size 14 on the website that you're looking at right now. So instead of trusting your intuition, check the size table and look for that EU size, because that's the most reliable sizing system across countries internationally. That's one thing that always means the same. Take your measurements and see objectively which EU size you are. Number 2, looking at the model. You need to see a picture of an actual person wearing the garment you're looking at, otherwise you're very likely to buy something that's not going to fit. That's obvious, but then looking at the girl, see how tall she is and which size she's wearing. If she's as tall as you, has your body type and wears size S, then you probably need a size S. If you're shorter, then the garment will fall longer and it also changes the fits, so that's a bit trickier. If you're thinner, it will look like it's boxy and you can consider going one size down if you like proper fitting. So the size matters, the height matters, but also the body type again. If the model is a rectangle, typical model body, long and lean, almost no curves, and you're a pair with larger hips, then consider going one size up to be comfortable enough at the hip level. Number 3, garment length. That's a tricky one, especially if you have, let's say, more curves than normal models, which is the case of pretty much everyone. I will show you how to measure the length of a garment properly with a tape measure and how to measure your own length so that you can decide if it's long enough for your body and for your tastes. For a t-shirt, you measure the back from the highest point, which is where the neck meets the shoulder, and down to the hem, going straight down. So that's the length of my t-shirt. Then you do the same on yourself, placing the tape measure here where the neck meets the shoulder and going straight down X centimeters, what you just measured on the t-shirt, and you see, is that long enough for my taste, or is it not covering my belly enough? Where do I want that t-shirt to end at the bottom? That's the length that you would actually need. Then when you're measuring a dress, you start exactly at the same point as well, it's just that the length is going to be longer. The method is strictly the same. For a shirt, you need to take the bust into account too. So you will measure your front side from the highest point to the hem. For the sleeves, start measuring where the arm meets the shoulder, which is usually where the shoulder seam is placed. So if you have a t-shirt on, you can just follow that point. And then bend your arm and measure the length you want with the arm bent. It's important to bend your arm when you measure a sleeve length, where you want it to end, because if you measure with the arm straight, it's going to give you a shorter number. And then when you cross your arms or raise your hand, typically it shrinks and you're going to feel like the sleeves are too short. That's because they are too short in the first place. Always bend your arm when you measure a sleeve length. For a skirt, you can measure the back in the center. If you see a seam with a zipper, like here, you can just follow the seam. That's super easy. And that gives you the total length of that skirt. And then for pants, you need to know the waist measurement all around, the hip measurement, that's classic, same on a skirt, and then you need to know also the inseam length. Follow the inside seam, which is the one going from the crotch to the hem, between the legs. It's the same method for jeans or regular trousers. Number 4, check the fabrics. You might find out that you're actually in between two sizes in the table and based on your measurements. In that case, spandex is a good thing to look for in the fiber content. You only need 1 to 5% of spandex in a garment, in the fabric, to make it a lot more flexible, stretchable, so you're gonna have space when you move. If you find spandex in a fabric, you can buy the garment of the lower size if you're in between two. Alternatively, you can buy something that's in knitted fabrics. Knits, by definition, stretch more, so they give you the comfort that you need. You can go for the lower size. But if you're looking at a fabric that is woven, not knitted, and contains no spandex, it's going to be super stiff. It's not going to move when you move. So in that case, I would rather go for the bigger size of the two if you're in between two, to make sure you have enough space to move. Next point, check the dimensions. Especially when shopping for accessories, like for instance a purse, check the dimensions before you purchase. If you can't find them, ask the customer service before you purchase, because typical case, purse is shown like this. Just a pack shot. You don't have a hand holding it, you don't have a body behind, you can't tell how big it is. Maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that, you just don't know. Same thing for bracelets. When you see a one size item, which is very common in fantasy jewelry, make sure that the length is stated somewhere and that it's long enough to actually go around your wrists without being too tight. Otherwise, you're never going to wear it and you're going to have to return it. Number 6, the return and exchange policy. Usually, there is a dedicated section at the bottom of each commercial website with all that information. Some brands will ship to more countries than they accept returns from, or the returns will not be free for all the countries. If that's the case, then the brands have to legally state it in that section. So it's worth having a quick look down there. Number 7, very important, secured websites. If the website you're looking at to shop starts with https://, the S means secured. It means that the data is encrypted and that is safer, if not perfectly safe. It never is, but it's much better if you have the S after the HTTP. If you don't have that, at least for the checkout and payment section of the shopping experience, then your contact data and your payment details are probably not safe. I would strongly recommend not to buy on websites that don't have the S in the URL. If the data leaks, then it's your problem afterwards, and I would just stay away from such websites. They don't have the basics right, you don't know what else could go wrong in the process. When you shop online, it's better to take a bit more time before hitting purchase, even though it's so easy in just a few clicks to check that you have those points down, to make sure you have the right garment, the right size, the right length, and that you don't have to deal with the return process at all. I hope you found those tips useful, that you feel better equipped for the next time you go shopping for clothing online. If that's the case, thumbs up. Thank you so much. On this channel, there is a new fashion video every Wednesday and Sunday. So if you have subscribed and if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification every time there is something new. Take care. Bye bye.